The quantum resonance drives of the United Earth destroyer Prometheus hummed with a subtle vibration that only Captain Jack Marshall could truly appreciate. After 23 years of space service, he had developed an almost supernatural connection with his ships, feeling their pulse, understanding their breathing rhythm of power and potential. The bridge was a testament to human engineering. Sleek consoles with holographic displays that seemed to float like living data clouds, each station a perfect blend of functionality and aesthetic design. Unlike the sterile, angular environments of most military vessels, the Prometheus felt alive, almost sentient. Lieutenant Commander Sarah Williams, the ship's primary navigation officer, broke the comfortable silence. Her fingers danced across her console, tracing complex gravitational projection patterns. "Captain, we're detecting some unusual quantum flux readings at the edge of the Orion frontier sector." Marshall turned, his steel-gray eyes catching the soft blue light of the holographic displays. At 52, he carried the weight of decades of space exploration, lines etched into his face like navigation charts, telling stories of countless missions and narrow escapes. "Define unusual," he responded, his voice a low, controlled rumble that suggested decades of command experience. Williams pulled up a three-dimensional star map, highlighting a region of space that seemed unremarkable at first glance. Subtle quantum distortions flickered at the map's edge, barely perceptible, like a whisper of something waiting to emerge. "These readings don't match any known natural phenomenon," she explained. "The quantum signature is, well, it's almost artificial, but not like anything in our databases." The ship's artificial intelligence, an advanced neural network they called Ghost, materialized as a soft blue holographic interface. Unlike traditional ship AIs, Ghost had been developed using revolutionary quantum learning algorithms that allowed for near-intuitive decision-making. Analyzing, Ghost reported, its voice a neutral blend of masculine and feminine tones. Quantum flux indicates potential transdimensional energy signature. Probability of artificial origin, 87.6%. Marshall leaned forward, his posture a mixture of curiosity and practiced caution. He had learned long ago that in the vast emptiness of space, seemingly innocuous anomalies could transform into existential threats in milliseconds. Lieutenant Emma Rodriguez, the tactical officer, was already running advanced scanning protocols. Her expertise in xenological threat assessment made her one of the most valued members of the Prometheus crew. "Captain, I'm detecting multiple massive energy signatures emerging from quantum space. They're big, really big." The bridge transformed instantly. Soft ambient lighting shifted to combat readiness mode, deep reds and sharp blues creating an atmosphere of controlled tension. Crew members moved with practiced efficiency, each understanding their role in the complex dance of potential conflict. "Ghost, combat analysis," Marshall commanded, his voice cutting through the mounting tension. The AI's holographic representation shifted, displaying multiple alien vessel configurations. Each ship was a marvel of technological complexity, geometric shapes that defied traditional understanding of spacecraft design, their surfaces seeming to shimmer and shift even as they stabilized in normal space. "Preliminary analysis indicates a fleet composition from the Galactic Consortium," Ghost reported. "Estimated vessel count, 247 primary combat units. Technological complexity exceeds our current threat models by approximately 312%. The numbers were staggering. A single human destroyer against what was effectively an entire alien invasion force. Marshall's mind raced through tactical scenarios, decades of strategic training condensing complex possibilities into actionable decisions. The Prometheus wasn't just a ship, it was an experimental platform that represented humanity's most advanced technological achievements. "They're positioning for a colony strike," Rodriguez stated, her voice tight with controlled professional concern. "The Novaterra settlement is directly in their approach vector. 3 billion human lives hung in the balance." Marshall knew this moment would define not just a battle, but potentially humanity's entire future in the galactic community. One ship, impossible odds. A civilization's survival at stake. Helm, prepare quantum evasive maneuvers, he ordered. Tactical, bring experimental shield harmonics online. Ghost, begin comprehensive threat analysis and predictive countermeasure modeling. The Prometheus began to pulse with energy, its experimental systems preparing for a confrontation that would challenge everything the alien consortium believed about human capabilities. The silent frontier was about to become a battleground that would reshape galactic history. The alien fleet materialized like a metallic nightmare across the Prometheus's sensor arrays. Each vessel defied traditional understanding of spacecraft design. Crystalline structures that seemed to breathe and pulse with impossible geometries, their surfaces shifting between solid matter and something closer to liquid energy. Lieutenant Emma Rodriguez's fingers flew across her tactical console, her breathing measured and controlled. Years of xenological combat training had prepared her for this moment, but nothing could truly prepare anyone for a confrontation of this magnitude. Incoming transmission, Ghost announced, the ship's AI materializing as a holographic projection that rippled with quantum uncertainty. Communication attempt from primary consortium vessel. Captain Jack Marshall studied the alien fleet with a predator's intensity. 23 years of space service had taught him that first contact scenarios were as much psychological as they were technological. Put it through, he commanded, his voice steady. The main view screen flickered, revealing a being that defied human comprehension. Its form was a complex lattice of energy and matter, crystalline structures forming what might generously be called a face. When it spoke, the sound was less a voice and more a complex mathematical equation translated into audio frequencies. Human vessel, the translation matrix rendered. You are in violation of consortium territorial space. Surrender or be eliminated. A subtle smile crossed Marshall's lips. It was always the same. Every advanced civilization believed in absolute terms, in black and white resolutions. Humanity had learned long ago that the universe existed in infinite shades of gray. Lieutenant Rodriguez, Marshall said softly, active scanning protocols. Let's see what they're made of. The Prometheus began to pulse with energy, its experimental quantum scanning systems probing the alien fleet with precision that bordered on the miraculous. Unlike traditional scanning methods, the ship's systems didn't just collect data. They interpreted, predicted, and anticipated. Chief Engineer Mike Thompson monitored the scanning process from his engineering station. His latest modifications to the ship's quantum resonance systems were about to be tested in the most extreme conditions imaginable. The experimental technology represented years of research, pushing the boundaries of human understanding of physics and energy manipulation. Scanning complete, Ghost reported. Detecting significant vulnerabilities in consortium fleet communication and energy distribution networks. The alien beings seemed to hesitate. Their computational systems were struggling to process the Prometheus's unconventional approach. Typically, opposing vessels would either engage in direct combat or attempt to flee. This human ship was doing something entirely unexpected. It was studying them. They're confused, Rodriguez noted, a hint of excitement in her professional tone. Our scanning patterns don't match any known combat or reconnaissance protocols. Marshall nodded. Humanity's greatest strength had always been its ability to think beyond established paradigms. Where other species saw rigid systems, humans saw opportunities for creative disruption. The first weapon discharge came without warning, a massive energy beam that would have vaporized any known human vessel instantly. But the Prometheus was not any known human vessel. Quantum adaptive shielding absorbed the incoming energy, not just deflecting it, but actually converting it into additional power for the ship's systems. On the alien fleet's sensor displays, the human destroyer didn't just survive. It seemed to grow stronger with each attack. Initiating response pattern Delta, Rodriguez announced, her fingers executing a combat sequence that looked more like an intricate dance than a military maneuver. The Prometheus began to move in ways that defied traditional space combat logic. It didn't simply dodge or counterattack. It predicted, manipulated, and rewritten the very rules of engagement. Quantum positioning systems allowed the ship to exist in multiple potential locations simultaneously, making it virtually impossible to target. "They're losing computational cohesion," Ghost reported, almost with a sense of satisfaction. The AI was more than just a system. It was a learning entity that was actively participating in the conflict. Marshall watched the alien fleet's formation begin to break down. What had started as a unified attack was quickly becoming a chaotic mess of conflicting signals and confused defensive protocols. "Psychological warfare," he muttered, more to himself than to the crew. Sometimes the most powerful weapon is simply being unpredictable. The Prometheus wasn't just fighting a battle. It was rewriting the fundamental understanding of space combat, one quantum-shifted moment at a time. As the first phase of the conflict concluded, one thing became abundantly clear. This was no ordinary engagement. This was humanity's declaration to the galaxy. We are here, we are different, and we will not be underestimated. The engineering section of the Prometheus was less a traditional spacecraft compartment and more of a living, breathing technological ecosystem. Chief Engineer Mike Thompson moved between quantum resonance interfaces with the grace of a conductor leading a complex symphony of technology. "Ghost," Thompson called out, his fingers dancing across holographic control surfaces. "Begin quantum entanglement recalibration sequence." The ship's artificial intelligence responded immediately. Quantum filaments began to weave through the vessel's systems, creating a network of computational possibilities that defied traditional understanding of computational architecture. What the alien consortium saw as a warship, Thompson and his team had transformed into a living, adaptive computational organism. Lieutenant Commander Sarah Williams monitored the external sensor arrays, her keen eyes tracking the massive alien fleet's movements. "They're preparing another coordinated electromagnetic pulse," she announced, her voice a mixture of professional calm and underlying excitement. Captain Jack Marshall stood at the center of the bridge, a study in controlled tension. His decades of space service had taught him that the most critical moments often happened in the spaces between actions, in the subtle manipulations of possibility, rather than direct confrontation. "Let them come," he muttered, more to himself than to the crew. The alien electromagnetic pulse was a weapon of absolute technological superiority. Designed to completely disable any known technological system, it represented the pinnacle of the consortium's computational warfare capabilities. Most human vessels would be reduced to nothing more than floating debris in milliseconds. But the Prometheus was not most human vessels. As the electromagnetic wave approached, the ship's quantum adaptive systems began to vibrate at a frequency that seemed to exist between reality and possibility. Chief Engineer Thompson had spent years developing a revolutionary approach to energy absorption and redirection, a technology so advanced it bordered on the metaphysical. "Pulse incoming," Ghost announced, its holographic representation flickering with anticipation. The electromagnetic wave struck the Prometheus with enough energy to vaporize entire planetary defense networks. For a fraction of a second, every sensor in the alien fleet registered complete system destruction. Then something extraordinary happened. The Prometheus not only survived, it transformed the incoming destructive energy into additional computational and combat power. Quantum entanglement systems began to break down the pulse's mathematical structure, converting devastating weapon energy into a fuel source for the ship's most advanced systems. On the alien fleet's command decks, computational systems began to fail. Their most sophisticated weapon had been turned against them, creating cascading failures across their entire fleet network. Energy absorption at 247%, Ghost reported, a hint of satisfaction in its synthesized voice. Quantum adaptive systems converting electromagnetic pulse into enhanced operational capabilities. Lieutenant Emma Rodriguez watched her tactical displays with growing excitement. The alien fleet's coordinated attack was dissolving into chaos. Their unified computational network, once their greatest strength, had become their most significant vulnerability. They designed a weapon of absolute technological superiority. Thompson said, more to himself than anyone else, but they forgot the most important rule of technological development. Marshall completed the thought. Adaptability is more powerful than perfection. The Prometheus began to pulse with an energy that seemed to exist between traditional understanding of matter and pure computational potential. Quantum filaments extended from the ship like invisible tendrils, probing and analyzing the alien fleet's computational infrastructure. What had begun as a standard combat engagement was transforming into something entirely unprecedented. The Prometheus wasn't just fighting. It was learning, adapting, and fundamentally rewriting the rules of technological warfare. Lieutenant Williams' voice cut through the tension. "Captain, I'm detecting significant computational disruption in the alien fleet's communication networks. They're losing cohesion." The alien consortium had believed their technological superiority was absolute. They had spent millennia developing computational systems designed to be unbeatable, unchangeable, perfect. They had never encountered human innovation. Each moment of the engagement revealed another layer of human creativity. Where the alien fleet saw rigid systems, the Prometheus saw opportunities for radical transformation. Computational pathways became fluid, defensive systems became offensive capabilities, and technological limitations became mere suggestions. As the quantum adaptive systems continued to absorb and redirect the alien fleet's most sophisticated weapons, one thing became abundantly clear. This was more than a battle. This was a fundamental challenge to the galaxy's understanding of technological warfare. The Prometheus wasn't just a warship. It was a declaration of human potential. The massive alien dreadnought loomed like a crystalline mountain of impossible geometry, its surface rippling with energy patterns that defied human understanding. Weapon systems that could obliterate entire planetary networks charged with a menacing luminescence, all focused on the solitary human destroyer Prometheus. Captain Jack Marshall felt the ship respond to his thoughts before he could even verbalize the commands. Years of symbiotic interaction with advanced computational systems had created something more than a standard human-machine interface. The Prometheus was an extension of its crew's collective consciousness. "Full quantum adaptive protocols," Marshall commanded, his voice calm despite the apocalyptic scene unfolding around them. Lieutenant Emma Rodriguez's tactical display became a living canvas of predictive possibilities. Millions of potential combat scenarios cascaded through her console, each pathway analyzed and discarded in microseconds. The alien dreadnought might have technological superiority, but the Prometheus had something far more powerful: human unpredictability. Chief Engineer Mike Thompson monitored the ship's experimental quantum resonance systems. "Adaptive shielding at maximum potential," he reported. "We're operating beyond our previous theoretical limits." Ghost, the ship's artificial intelligence, materialized as a holographic projection that seemed to shimmer between different states of existence. "Analyzing primary threat vector," the AI reported. "Computational models suggest 99.7% probability of total destruction using conventional defensive strategies." A subtle smile crossed Marshall's face. Conventional had never been humanity's strong suit. The alien dreadnought released its primary weapon, a focused energy beam that could slice through planetary crusts. Let alone a single warship, most technological civilizations would have seen certain annihilation. The Prometheus saw an opportunity. Quantum adaptive systems began to work their impossible magic. The incoming energy beam didn't just get deflected. It got absorbed, analyzed, and transformed. Each millisecond saw the ship's computational matrix rewriting the fundamental rules of energy interaction. "Redirecting energy flow," Rodriguez called out, her fingers dancing across quantum adaptive interfaces, converting destructive potential into operational capabilities. The bridge crew moved with a synchronicity that bordered on the supernatural. Each member anticipated the other's actions, their movements a complex dance of human intuition and technological precision. They weren't just fighting. They were rewriting the fundamental understanding of space combat. Lieutenant Commander Sarah Williams tracked the dreadnought's computational networks. "They're losing computational cohesion," she reported. "Our adaptive systems are causing cascading failures in their primary defense matrices." The alien vessel began to respond in ways its designers could never have anticipated. Quantum intrusion algorithms developed by Thompson's engineering team began to probe and manipulate the dreadnought's internal systems. What had been an absolute weapon of technological superiority was becoming something closer to a confused computational organism. Initiating quantum entanglement disruption, Ghost announced, its holographic form flickering with an almost predatory intensity. Marshall watched the tactical display with the calm of a seasoned commander who understood that the most critical battles were won in the spaces between actions. The Prometheus wasn't just defending itself. It was teaching the alien consortium an entirely new understanding of technological warfare. The dreadnought's massive energy systems began to destabilize. Computational pathways that had been designed as absolute defensive mechanisms became vulnerabilities. Each moment revealed another layer of the alien fleet's fundamental weakness, a rigid, unchanging approach to technological design. "Energy redirection at 312%, Thompson called out, his voice a mixture of scientific excitement and professional calm. "We're now generating more operational energy than the initial attack could have potentially delivered." Rodriguez's tactical display became a living testament to human innovation. Defensive systems transformed into offensive capabilities. Incoming weapon energy became fuel for the Prometheus's most advanced computational matrices. The alien dreadnought, a marvel of technological engineering that had conquered countless civilizations, began to break apart. Not through direct destruction, but through the Prometheus's ability to fundamentally rewrite its own operational parameters. They built a weapon of absolute superiority. Marshall muttered, more to himself than to the crew, but they forgot the most important rule of technological evolution. Ghost completed the thought. Adaptability trumps perfection. As the alien dreadnought systems continued to collapse, one thing became abundantly clear. This was more than a battle. This was humanity's declaration to the galaxy. We are here, we are different, and we will not be underestimated. The Prometheus wasn't just surviving. It was transforming the very understanding of technological warfare. The quantum communication networks of the galaxy trembled with an unprecedented transmission. News of the Prometheus's impossible survival spread faster than light itself, carried by encrypted quantum channels that bypassed traditional communication barriers. In the sprawling human colonies of Novaterra, orbital defense platforms came alive with a sudden surge of hope. Lieutenant Alexandra Chen, stationed at the primary communications hub, watched in awe as the first reports from the Prometheus began to filter through. "This can't be real," she muttered, her fingers dancing across holographic displays that captured fragments of the battle. Each transmission was a piece of a larger narrative, a story of human resilience that defied every established understanding of interstellar conflict. Captain Jack Marshall's voice cut through the quantum noise, calm and calculated. "We're not just fighting a battle," he transmitted to human command networks. "We're rewriting the fundamental rules of galactic engagement." On the bridge of the Prometheus, Lieutenant Emma Rodriguez continued her relentless assault on the alien consortium's communication infrastructure. What had begun as a defensive engagement had transformed into something far more strategic, a complete deconstruction of the aliens' computational networks. "Ghost," she called to the ship's AI. "Continue quantum intrusion protocols. Let's see what secrets they're hiding." The artificial intelligence responded with a cascade of computational analysis that would have overwhelmed any traditional system. Quantum entanglement allowed the Prometheus to simultaneously exist in multiple computational states, probing the alien fleet's communication networks with a precision that bordered on the impossible. Chief Engineer Mike Thompson monitored the ship's experimental systems, his hands moving with the precision of a master craftsman. "We're extracting more than just communication data," he reported. "We're learning their entire technological infrastructure." The alien consortium had spent millennia believing in the absolute nature of their technological superiority. They had conquered countless civilizations, crushed rebellions with mathematical precision, and believed their computational systems were unbreakable. They had never encountered human innovation. Each quantum probe revealed another layer of the alien fleet's vulnerabilities. Computational pathways that had seemed impenetrable began to unravel. The Prometheus wasn't just intercepting communications, it was fundamentally rewriting the aliens' understanding of technological warfare. Detecting significant fractures in consortium fleet coordination, Lieutenant Commander Sarah Williams announced. Her voice carried a mixture of professional calm and underlying excitement. Their unified command structure is beginning to break down. Marshall understood the deeper significance of what was unfolding. This was more than a military engagement. It was a fundamental challenge to the galactic status quo. Human colonies that had long been considered peripheral, insignificant, were watching a single ship redefine the boundaries of technological possibility. Quantum communication channels began to light up with transmissions from other human outposts. Colonies that had lived under the shadow of alien technological supremacy now saw a beacon of hope. The Prometheus wasn't just fighting. It was inspiring an entire species to reimagine its potential. Intercepting high-priority consortium communication channels, Rodriguez reported, her tactical displays transforming into a living map of computational warfare. Their internal communication networks are fragmenting. Ghost's holographic representation flickered with an almost predatory intensity. Analyzing communication breakdown, the AI reported. Detecting multiple computational fault lines within the consortium's unified fleet structure. Thompson leaned forward, his eyes tracking the intricate dance of quantum data streams. It's like watching a complex organism slowly lose its ability to coordinate, he muttered. We're not just breaking their communication. We are fundamentally challenging their understanding of collective intelligence. The alien fleet's once unified computational network began to resemble a fragmented, confused system. Entire sections of their fleet were losing the ability to communicate effectively, their rigid hierarchical structures becoming their greatest weakness. Marshall watched the tactical displays with the calm of a commander who understood that the most critical battles were won in the spaces between actions. The Prometheus was teaching the consortium a lesson they would never forget, that true technological superiority wasn't about perfection, but about adaptability. Continue quantum intrusion, he commanded. Let's show them what human innovation really looks like. As the Prometheus continued its unprecedented assault on the alien fleet's communication infrastructure, one thing became abundantly clear. This was more than a battle. This was humanity's declaration to the galaxy. We are here, we are different, and we will not be underestimated. The echoes of resistance had begun. The remaining consortium fleet gathered like a storm of impossible geometries, their vessels a nightmare of crystalline structures and quantum-shifted energy patterns. Every remaining ship concentrated their most devastating weapons on a single point in space, where the human destroyer Prometheus was predicted to exist. Prediction had always been a human invention that other civilizations had yet to master. Captain Jack Marshall stood at the center of the bridge, a living embodiment of calm calculation. His hands moved with a precision that suggested decades of training, interfaces responding to his thoughts before he could fully formulate the commands. Full quantum adaptive projection, he commanded, his voice a low, controlled rumble that cut through the mounting tension. Lieutenant Emma Rodriguez's tactical display transformed into a living mathematical nightmare. Millions of potential combat scenarios cascaded through her console, each pathway analyzed and discarded in microseconds. The alien fleet might have believed they were executing a perfect, mathematically precise attack, but the Prometheus existed in a realm beyond traditional computational logic. Initiating multi-dimensional evasion protocols, Rodriguez announced, her fingers dancing across quantum adaptive interfaces. Chief Engineer Mike Thompson monitored the ship's experimental systems, each reading a testament to human innovation pushed to its absolute limits. Quantum resonance fields at maximum potential, he reported. We're operating beyond our previous theoretical understanding. Ghost, the ship's artificial intelligence, materialized as a holographic projection that seemed to exist in multiple states simultaneously. Analyzing primary threat vectors, the AI reported. Computational models suggest 99.9% probability of total destruction using conventional defensive strategies. A subtle smile crossed Marshall's face. Conventional had never been humanity's limitation. The alien fleet unleashed a coordinated attack that would have vaporized entire solar systems. Weapon systems designed to obliterate planetary networks charged with a menacing luminescence, all focused on the solitary human destroyer. Most technological civilizations would have seen certain annihilation. The Prometheus saw an opportunity. Quantum adaptive systems began to work their impossible magic. The incoming energy didn't just get deflected. It got absorbed, analyzed, and transformed. Each millisecond saw the ship's computational matrix rewriting the fundamental rules of energy interaction and spatial manipulation. Redirecting energy flow, Rodriguez called out, her voice a mixture of scientific precision and underlying excitement, converting destructive potential into operational capabilities. The bridge crew moved with a synchronicity that bordered on the supernatural. Each member anticipated the other's actions, their movements a complex dance of human intuition and technological precision. They weren't just fighting. They were redefining the very concept of space combat. Lieutenant Commander Sarah Williams tracked the alien fleet's computational networks with laser-focused intensity. Their attack matrices are becoming increasingly unstable, she reported. Our adaptive systems are causing cascading failures in their primary offensive configurations. Marshall understood the deeper significance of what was unfolding. This was more than a military engagement. It was a fundamental challenge to the galactic understanding of technological warfare. The alien fleet's weapon systems began to destabilize in ways their designers could never have anticipated. Computational pathways that had been designed as absolute offensive mechanisms became vulnerabilities. Each moment revealed another layer of the aliens' fundamental weakness, a rigid, unchanging approach to technological design. Energy redirection at 347%, Thompson called out, his voice a mixture of scientific wonder and professional calm. We're now generating more operational energy than their entire combined fleet could potentially deliver. Ghost's holographic representation flickered with an almost philosophical intensity, analyzing combat potential, the AI reported. Conclusion: conventional understanding of warfare is insufficient to describe current engagement parameters. The bridge of the Prometheus became a living computational ecosystem. Human intuition, technological innovation, and quantum adaptive systems merged into something that defied traditional understanding of combat capabilities. They built weapons of absolute superiority, Marshall muttered, more to himself than to the crew, but they forgot the most important rule of technological evolution. Ghost completed the thought. Adaptability is the ultimate survival strategy. As the alien fleet's attack continued to dissolve into computational chaos, one thing became abundantly clear. This was more than a battle. This was humanity's declaration to the galaxy. We are here, we are different, and we will not be underestimated. The Prometheus wasn't just surviving. It was transforming the very understanding of interstellar conflict. The primary command ship of the consortium hung in space, like a massive crystalline sculpture, its computational networks once considered the most sophisticated in the known galaxy. Now, those same networks were unraveling under the relentless quantum intrusion of the Prometheus. Captain Jack Marshall studied the massive vessel with a predator's intensity. Years of space service had taught him that the most critical victories were won in the moments between action, in the subtle manipulations of possibility rather than direct confrontation. Ghost, Marshall commanded, begin comprehensive quantum infiltration of their primary command systems. The ship's artificial intelligence materialized as a holographic projection that seemed to exist between different states of computational reality, initiating multidimensional penetration protocols. Ghost reported, its voice a complex harmony of analytical precision and something almost resembling excitement. Lieutenant Emma Rodriguez's tactical displays transformed into a living mathematical landscape. Millions of potential infiltration pathways cascaded through her console, each vector analyzed and refined in microseconds. The alien command ship might have believed itself impenetrable, but the Prometheus saw only opportunities. Detecting primary computational core, she announced, her fingers moving with surgical precision across quantum adaptive interfaces, beginning systematic deconstruction of their defensive matrices. Chief Engineer Mike Thompson monitored the ship's experimental systems, each reading a testament to human innovation pushed beyond known theoretical limits. "Quantum resonance fields are stabilizing," he reported. "We're maintaining computational synchronization at 99.8% efficiency." The massive consortium command ship began to respond in ways its designers could never have anticipated. Quantum intrusion algorithms developed by Thompson's engineering team began to probe and manipulate the vessel's internal systems. What had been an absolute bastion of technological superiority was becoming something closer to a confused computational organism. Lieutenant Commander Sarah Williams tracked the intrusion with laser-focused intensity. "Their defensive systems are fragmenting," she reported. "We're systematically dismantling their computational infrastructure." Marshall understood the deeper significance of what was unfolding. This was more than a military engagement. This was a fundamental challenge to the galactic understanding of technological warfare. The ship's computational core began to destabilize. Defensive pathways that had been designed as absolute protective mechanisms became vulnerabilities. Each moment revealed another layer of the consortium's fundamental weakness, a rigid, unchanging approach to technological design. Initiating final infiltration sequence, Rodriguez called out, her voice a mixture of professional calm and underlying excitement. Ghost's holographic representation flickered with an almost predatory intensity. Analyzing command ship's computational infrastructure, the AI reported, detecting multiple critical vulnerabilities in their primary neural networks. The bridge of the Prometheus became a living computational ecosystem. Human intuition, technological innovation, and quantum adaptive systems merged into something that defied traditional understanding of technological interaction. Thompson leaned forward, his eyes tracking the intricate dance of quantum data streams. "We're not just breaking their systems," he muttered. "We're fundamentally challenging their entire understanding of collective intelligence." The consortium's command ship, once a marvel of technological engineering that had conquered countless civilizations, began to break apart. Not through direct destruction, but through the Prometheus's ability to fundamentally rewrite its operational parameters. "Energy redirection complete," Ghost announced. "Computational core now under systematic deconstruction." Marshall watched the tactical displays with the calm of a commander who understood that the most critical battles were won in the spaces between actions. The Prometheus was teaching the consortium a lesson they would never forget, that true technological superiority wasn't about perfection, but about adaptability. "Continue quantum infiltration," he commanded. "Let's show them what human innovation really looks like." The massive command ship systems began to collapse in a cascading failure that defied traditional understanding of computational warfare. Defensive mechanisms became pathways of intrusion, protective systems transformed into vulnerabilities. They built a weapon of absolute superiority. Marshall muttered, more to himself than to the crew, but they forgot the most important rule of technological evolution. Ghost completed the thought. Adaptability is the ultimate survival strategy. As the consortium's primary command ship continued to disintegrate under the Prometheus's relentless quantum assault, one thing became abundantly clear. This was more than a battle. This was humanity's declaration to the galaxy. We are here, we are different, and we will not be underestimated. The Prometheus wasn't just surviving. It was transforming the very understanding of interstellar conflict. In that moment, everything changed. The aftermath of the Prometheus's impossible victory reshaped the fundamental understanding of galactic politics. Communication networks across countless star systems trembled with the news. A single human warship had not just survived, but completely dismantled the most technologically advanced fleet in known space. Captain Jack Marshall stood on the bridge, watching as the last fragments of the consortium fleet drifted into silent oblivion. The Prometheus bore the scars of battle, quantum adaptive plating rippling with energy, computational systems pulsing with a life of their own. Lieutenant Emma Rodriguez completed her final tactical assessment. Fleet neutralization confirmed, she reported, her voice a mixture of professional calm and underlying disbelief. 0 human casualties. Chief Engineer Mike Thompson ran final system diagnostics, his hands moving across holographic interfaces with practiced precision. Quantum adaptive systems at 97.3% efficiency, he announced. We've essentially rewritten the rulebook of space combat. Ghost, the ship's artificial intelligence, materialized in a holographic projection that seemed to shimmer between multiple states of computational existence. Analyzing long-term galactic implications, the AI reported. Conclusion: fundamental restructuring of interstellar power dynamics is inevitable. The quantum communication networks erupted with transmissions. Human colonies that had long lived under the shadow of alien technological supremacy now saw a beacon of unprecedented hope. The Prometheus had done more than win a battle. It had challenged the entire galactic understanding of human potential. Lieutenant Commander Sarah Williams monitored the communication arrays, her eyes wide with the magnitude of their achievement. Incoming diplomatic channels, she reported. Multiple alien civilizations are requesting communication protocols. Marshall understood the deeper significance of what had unfolded. This was more than a military engagement. This was humanity's declaration of its place in the universe. Diplomatic channels that had been closed for generations began to crack open. The consortium's defeat wasn't just a military loss. It was a fundamental challenge to their understanding of technological and cultural superiority. Alien civilizations that had long viewed humans as a peripheral, insignificant species were now forced to reconsider everything they believed. Prepare diplomatic response, Marshall commanded. But let's remind them who we are. Ghost began compiling a comprehensive communication package, not just a military report, but a complex narrative that demonstrated humanity's core strengths: adaptability, innovation, the ability to transform seemingly insurmountable challenges into opportunities. Thompson approached the captain, a subtle smile crossing his face. "We've done more than win a battle," he said quietly. "We've changed the entire conversation about what humanity represents." The Prometheus began to pulse with energy, not a weapon system, but a beacon of potential. Quantum communication arrays opened channels that had been closed for generations. Human colonies watched in collective awe as their single ship became a symbol of something far greater than military might. Rodriguez's tactical displays began to fill with incoming transmissions. Diplomatic requests, scientific inquiries, requests for technological exchange. The galaxy was watching, and humanity was about to make its most important statement. Multiple alien diplomatic delegations requesting direct communication, Williams announced. "They're asking to understand how we achieved this." Marshall stepped forward, his posture a perfect blend of military precision and diplomatic potential. "Tell them the truth," he responded. "We achieved this through human innovation, through our ability to adapt, through our refusal to accept limitation." Ghost began to compile a comprehensive communication package, a testament to human potential that went far beyond military capability. It wasn't just a report of battle, but a complex narrative of human innovation, adaptability, and collective potential. The quantum communication networks began to reshape themselves. What had been rigid, hierarchical communication structures started to become more fluid, more adaptive, almost mimicking the very systems the Prometheus had demonstrated during the conflict. Analyzing diplomatic potential, Ghost reported. Probability of fundamental restructuring of interstellar relations, 94.7%. Marshall watched the tactical displays transform. Alien civilizations that had seen humans as a minor, inconsequential species were now being forced to reconsider everything they believed. The Prometheus had done more than win a battle. It had opened a new chapter in human potential. "We're not just a military vessel," Marshall muttered, more to himself than to the crew. "We're a declaration of what humanity can become." As the final communications began to stabilize, one thing became abundantly clear. This was more than a victory. This was humanity's moment of true arrival on the galactic stage. The Prometheus wasn't just a ship. It was a beacon of human potential. And everything had changed.